All right, today we're going to take a look at fundamentals of infield. We're going to start by taking our sophomore Jack Picozzi here. We're going to show you what a good infield fielding position looks like. And then we're going to run through a series of very easy drills that can be done at every practice to warm up at the beginning of practice or in stations throughout the practice to work on getting our infielders in the right position with their hands and their feet. So, Jack is going to right now get into a position that he would be in to field a ground ball properly, and we're going to point out a few things that Jack is doing well, and these are the things that we want to make sure that our infielders do. All right, first of all, you'll notice that Jack's hands are out in front of his body, and if you're looking at Jack from basically standing in front of him, you can see the top of his hat. He's fielding the ball out in front of his body. All right, Jack, you turn sideways. We're going to show them the sideways view real quick. All good things happen out in front. Whether we're hitting, throwing, or fielding a ground ball, all good things happen in the front of our body. Jack's ball is he's fielding the ball out in front. Now, if that ball gets too deep and he starts to field the ball back here, now his eyes can't see the baseball anymore. So we always want to make sure that we get out in front. In order to get out in front, go back there, Jack, where you were, we have to make sure that our back is about parallel to the ground and our thighs are about parallel to the ground. So this ground ball fielding position where you see Jack right now, that's what we're going to try to get into every time we field a ground ball. So the next thing we're going to do is show you some drills that we can work on to get ourselves in exactly that position. All right, the first session of our pre-practice warm-up, or like I said before, this can be done during practice as stations, infield stations, or as the players arrive and we go through that warm-up session at the beginning of practice. This is the first repetition that we're going to do. All players are on their knees, basically isolating their hands. The first part of what we're going to do here focuses on getting our hands through and getting our hands out in front. We take the lower half away just to focus on that upper part of the body. We also, as you notice, take the gloves away, all right, so that we can focus on using hands, getting hands out in front, developing good soft hands, and also making sure that our eyes and our hands work together. So here's the first round. They're going to roll the ball to each other, and they're going to stay in that infield position. Now you'll notice here, when Jack fields the ball, he's going to get nice and low, and his hand gets out in front. Right here, we stay nice and low. When we field it, our hand comes out in front. We get through the baseball, almost like we are taking a shovel and we're coming through the ball. Again, where everything stays out in front, where we can see it with our eyes. And as simple as this drill looks, we are working on not getting too stiff with our hand. We're not trying to get anything back in here. Everything is fielded out in front, and everything is working through the baseball. So that is phase one of our warm-up. Now, we're going to have the guys stay at the same position, all right? And we're going to work on the exact same approach, but this time we're going to work on a short hop. Okay, now the short hop is a little bit tougher, but this is where it becomes very important to get the glove out and through, or in this case, our hand out and through. So I'm going to have RJ roll one to Sam first so we can see what it looks like. RJ's first ball was too strong. He didn't get that hop. Now he's getting it. Now we're in good shape. Now we have that short hop. We get that ball right out here, short hop, glove through. Now what we're simulating here, you guys can take a break. What we're simulating here is that ground ball where when an infielder comes and gets it, it hops up on him last second. By getting the glove through, we're avoiding getting that hop coming back up here where it hits off the heel of our glove. But if we can stay low and we can work through that hop, now we go get the ball before it gets us. So round one is 2 knees, no glove. Round 2 is 2 knees, no glove with a short hop. Now we'll progress to the next stage. All right, now as you can see, we're working the same drill that we just did with our bare hands, but we're using our glove. And again, simulating getting through the baseball by making sure that our glove starts with the fingertips down, and then we come through. Now, what we really want to do when we do this drill is we'll take RJ over here. RJ's going to get nice and low with his back. All right, he's going to get his glove in position. And if we work this drill the right way, RJ's going to stay there the entire time. His chin's never going to come up. His chest is never going to come up. The focus here is making sure that the glove works to the baseball. And now they'll switch to the short hop, which they did with the bare hands, and it's going to do the same thing. Notice that when we get that glove through on the short hop, our face and our chest don't come up with the ball. We stay down and we stay through, and we use our eyes to make sure we field the baseball properly. The next phase here, we're going to switch from fielding the ball out in front on a regular ground ball to now fielding a backhand. And this is not a hot shot backhand. So if a guy was playing the infield and he got a real screamer, he might just cross over and field it. This is the toughest play in the infield. This is the one where we have to approach the ball and come through with the backhand, but it's not hit very hard. So RJ is in a position here where he has his body on an angle. Now, if RJ was to stand up from that position, he would be in basically that clean backhand position that we always want to get in when we're coming through the ball. But again, what we're doing right now is we are isolating just the upper part of our body. So RJ's going to get in that position, and when he feels the ground ball, he's going to come through with his hand, and then he's going to come up and bring it in. All right, in this position he's going in here, the motion he's making here is exactly what we're going to simulate with our next section of partner pickups. And as you can see, as they roll the ball back and forth, they're keeping the ball close enough to their body so they can get their hands through, and they can get their elbow to come up. And now we'll transition into the same drill with their gloves. So now they'll stay in that same position, they'll put their gloves on, and they'll continue to do that same repetition. All right, now we're kind of skipping a little bit, but you get the idea of the progression that we're going through. So now the guys have the gloves on. They would have already done this phase without a glove. Now they're opening up, and they're getting the ball on their glove side. And they're going to roll short hops to each other on their glove side. All right, so again, now it's simulating fielding a ground ball. Instead of backhanding and coming this way, now we're fielding the ground ball on this side. All right, again, trying to get our warm-up drills to simulate every side of the body and every way that we might work a routine ground ball. So here we go with some open side, forehand, short hops. What we're looking for here is making sure that glove is getting through. All right, just like RJ's doing here, the glove gets through on the short hop. You'll also notice that when he does that, his eyes stay right down through the baseball. If we can work the hands and get this good muscle memory with the hands and the glove work, once we stand up on our feet and we're getting live ground balls, everything here between our hands and our eyes will be in the proper position, and that's what we want. We want good, soft hands. We want to field that ball, as I've said many times already, out in front of our body. So now as we move into using both of our hands and we get into the position where we have to actually move our feet to get to the ball, a real good way to instruct young infielders how to field the ground ball properly is to tell them that basically we're operating with 3 steps. All right, so right now the ground ball is in the middle of my body. But my objective as an infielder is to try to get to the right of the ball so that when I feel it, my momentum is going toward first base. So we try to work a 3-step process where step 1, we get to the right. Step 2, we get down and field. And then step 3, we activate our feet and throw. And if we can get that 3-step process down, if we have guys moving their feet the entire time, now when they go to field it, it'll look like this. And that's how we get ourselves in a good position to throw and go from picking up the ball to getting good momentum going toward first base. So I'm going to have the guys get in the line now, and we're going to demonstrate what that would look like for an early practice drill. We're going to go one guy at a time, and we're going to do exactly that. We'll start nice and close. We don't need a lot of space for this. This could be something you do just in a small section of the infield dirt. You could do it in a grassy area on the side of the field. Really, you could do it on a parking lot while you're waiting to get on the field. It doesn't take a lot of space, okay? And no throws here. We're just going to get ourselves in position to make the throw. Good. Good. We're going to watch that glove work through the ball, and then we'll bring it up to our throwing hip so that we're ready to make that throw across the diamond. Good. Now as we're doing this, the further we go with this drill, the more complicated we can get. So what I can start to do now is I can start to do a little bit of this where I work that one hop. I can start to get a little bit more aggressive. All right, get that short hop. We want to keep working the glove through the ball, fellas. Don't forget about working the glove through the ball. There it is, just like that. There's a short hop. Good. And here we go. Just working ourselves through baseball. So again, because of practice organization and space, this is something that if we go through this routine from starting with bare hand pickups all the way to fielding ground balls in a small space, in a span of about 15 minutes, every practice, we can build consistent mechanics, consistent muscle memory, and we don't need a lot of space or any fancy equipment to do it, but it'll build us a core of very good infielders. All right, the next drill that we're going to show you, this is bonus coverage. Okay, this is something where, you know, we have a lot of guys together in practice. We have guys working on partner pickups and all that. That's great. But let's face it, maybe you're not a coach. Maybe you're just a parent. And maybe you have a kid at the house and you're stuck in the basement on a rainy week in March, or maybe it's cold outside and there's snow on the ground, and we need to find something that a kid can do by himself to make himself a better infielder. So this next drill we're going to show you is basically the same thing that we were just doing with partners, but it's something we can do by ourselves, and it works on picking up the ball and going through on a short hop. So RJ is going to essentially feed the ball to himself, work his feet and work his hands and come through the ball. All right, so he starts with the one out in front. He just drops it from about waist height, comes through with his glove. Now he'll do the same thing, but he'll work on the backhand. He'll drop it, come right through and get his feet going. Do it again, drop it, come through and get his feet going. So this is where we can take pretty much everything that we just did, and now we can work on it ourselves, all right? We love to say that there is no excuse to not get better every day, and the players that are serious about stuff, this is when they get really good, when nobody is watching. And that's where parents at home can encourage kids to go through some of these reps so that when you show up at practice the next day, all of a sudden you show up better than you were the last time when you left. All right, coaches' clinics are great. Every time you go to a coach's clinic, you learn something. And I would say probably about 15 years ago, when I went to my first real good coach's clinic, I saw a presentation from John Cohen, who at the time was the coach at Mississippi State University. And his presentation was called All You Need Is a Wall. If you have a wall and you have a little initiative, you can do a lot of things in baseball practice. So what our guys are going to show you right now is a basic series of wall drills where the stuff that we just did with pickups and partners, they're going to do the same thing just by throwing the ball against a hard surface. It could be a garage wall, it could be the back of a dugout, it could be maybe a wall where there just happens to be a school somewhere where you're practicing. Again, always able to do something to maximize the time and the space that we have. So we'll have these guys go through a routine where basically they're going to throw the ball against the wall and they're going to field it and do everything except for actually throw. Go ahead, Jack. All right, so Jack's looking through the ball. Now we're just going to do the same thing. He goes, good one hop off the wall. He gets his feet activated. And all we do is just do this over and over and over again to develop that proper muscle memory with our feet and our hands. This is something a guy can do by himself. It's something a team can do. This is where practice organization is a big thing. Oh, and every once in a while we make a mistake, and that's okay because nobody's perfect. So this is where if we organize our practice the right way, we are able to say, hey guys, go spend 5 minutes on the wall. Or hey, at the beginning of practice, every time we come to practice, we're going to spend 5 minutes against the back wall of the dugout before we are able to get onto the field. Always something that can be done, and this is great because there's no bad hops, and really, there's a very controlled environment where you can get a lot of reps without a whole lot of distraction.